Are the billionaires in real estate actually teaching you how to get rich, or are they giving you fodder information so that you can buy their books? Well, today we're gonna debunk all the real estate strategies of the ultra rich with real estate expert, Dean. Let's figure it out, starting with Robert Kiyosaki. So I'm gonna read out Robert's core messages here. Assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take money out. The rich use debt to get richer. You don't need a high income, you need cash flowing assets. And he loves the infinite return strategy. Now, Roberts, if you see any of his TikTok clips, everyone has seen it. He says, I'm $1 billion in debt.
I am a billionaire in debt.
When you're buying real estate and when you're making other investments, not just real estate, it's always good to use, and shout out to Mr. Dardano, my economics teacher in high school, OPM, other people's money.
Okay.
Right? His advice is good. I would just say maybe, I don't really agree with his delivery.
Well, it's because, first of all, we have to understand, Robert, right now, one of the main things he's trying to do is, one, build influence. Second is he's heavily trying to sell his book.
Yeah.
So as a social media person, I know what he's doing is very intelligent. He's creating buzz to get attention to sell the things he's want. He has super high conversions, right? But is he actually teaching people how to do the real estate part properly? I'm not sure.
I would say the framework is correct, right? Like using other people's money to create debt, and obviously debt is not taxable.
Yeah.
Right? So the framework of it is correct, but can somebody buy his book, follow the step by step, and then end up where he is? I don't think so. I feel like he's selling the mindset more so.
Yeah.
But real estate was just his vehicle to get, the level of wealth that he's achieved. And then the rest of it was the book. As a real estate guru, I don't think he's the guy to really look up to. I just feel like he used real estate as a vehicle to get, to where he's at, and then build a book around his wealth mindset and his strategies. Yeah.
Real estate icon number 2, Grant Cardone. His real estate strategy splits into these core messages. One is, don't buy single family homes, only buy big apartments or multifamily. Second thing is, rent where you live, own where you rent. And the third is, passive income from multifamily is the only path to wealth. Basically, his talking points is that you need to own rental properties so that they generate constant passive income.
Thumbs up to that.
Yeah, if anything, he says you shouldn't own anything except rental properties. That's pretty much what he's saying. So Grant's whole thing is talking about purchasing rental properties, right?
But only multifamily, right?
Multifamily or large apartment buildings, like 32 units, stuff like that. But rental can be broken down into 2 parts, right? One is the residential rental and one is the commercial rental. I think he probably does a mix of both, but what he preaches to the audience is the residential side. Yeah. Because they obviously cannot afford the commercial side. The problem I have with this is any normal person can't even afford their own home. How are they gonna purchase anything where they rent?
So that's the thing. I would say the feasibility for the average person to get in on that and to capitalize on this strategy is gonna be difficult. Because how are you gonna qualify for that loan in the beginning? And I would say in the US, there are more opportunities and mortgage structures and lending opportunities that would allow those kind of things to happen.
Right.
But here in Canada, just because of the way the mortgage system is, and in the US, one of the best things that exists is the 1031 exchange. Are you familiar with that?
I don't know what that is.
So if you roll the sale proceeds of one property into the next property, there's basically a lot of tax benefits to that.
Meaning if you sell one property and then you don't put it into your bank account right away as income.
Yeah,
and then you purchase the next thing.
Essentially circumvent capital gains.
Wow, by just taking your revenue or profit, whatever, your gross income and reinvest it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But do we have this here?
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
So that incentivizes, for example, if you were to purchase a strip mall, you got really good. So that's the thing with commercial properties, just a side note. You can increase the value of a commercial property tremendously based on your tenants. Whereas in residential, it doesn't really matter who pays rent. Right? That's just your rental income, this is what you get. But in commercial, depending on who your tenant is, you can astronomically increase the value of the property. So when you get good tenants in, maybe a good grocery store in this strip mall, build some value, you sell it for profit. If you buy the next strip mall that's run down, but maybe it's larger, you put the profits into that one, you're not gonna get, heavily deducted based on your capital gains.
So Grant Cardone's strategy really only works if you have high disposable income.
Yes, and the thing is, I can see the reason why he preaches the multifamily thing, because if you have the disposable income to get multifamily, the amount that you can see in return is obviously going to be much better than a single family home.
Right, and you can live in one of those.
You can live in one of those, and also the amount of upkeep that you need for a single family home versus even like a fourplex, or it doesn't jump up 4 times just because it's a fourplex. Right. The amount of repairs and upkeep and everything, it's going to be slightly more, but obviously not 4 times more.
Yeah.
But your investment also most likely won't be 4 times what a single family home is. So it is better to go multifamily, especially if you can find that niche depending on where you live. And Vancouver, we're going more to multifamily as well. So that's a feasible strategy if you can afford it.
Next one, completely opposite. Dave Ramsey. So Dave Ramsey is actually anti-real estate based on his stance, because he says pay cash for everything. And he says debt is slavery and never borrow money for real estate. But Dave Ramsey actually owns quite a bit of real estate. I don't know how he got that real estate paying cash only. I don't know where his income came from.
That advice would only work in certain markets.
Yes.
And certain types of products.
Dave Ramsey, what he teaches the average person, which is valuable, is don't get into more debt than you can handle. It's pretty much what he's teaching. But is that gonna get you rich? Not really.
No, that's gonna keep you comfortable, I would say.
Keep you not drowning.
Keep you safe. Yeah, that's a safe strategy. And I would say, unless you can see an astronomical increase in your income based on what industry you work in, you're just gonna be, you'll probably never sink, but you'll never fly either. Right, and that's like a comfortable strategy. And it's funny because he is really quite wealthy.
Yeah, and he owns a lot of real estate.
Yeah, so
I don't know how he buys all this real estate without, it seems, I can't believe it. He pays everything in cash. That's not what a wealthy person in real estate would do.
To liquidate things, especially for real estate, unless you're gonna take a hit on it, these are not quick liquidations. Right?
And I'm imagining at his volume, he's probably investing in commercials, which are like 20, 30 million plus investments.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This is kind of going into like influencers versus reality.
Yeah, maybe he preaches it, but he doesn't actually do it because he's not.
Yeah, maybe it's a theory thing. Like, not to discredit him, like obviously successful guy and great talking points and everything like that, but how feasible is it to society, which is who's really listening to him?
Right. Yeah,
and I would
that could be a thing. Do what I say, don't do what I do.
In terms of that strategy, kind of thumbs down for me.
Let's move on to our last person, STEPHAN. His approach is more like the average buyer. He likes to do buy and holds. He likes to invest in the stock markets. You know, he likes to have conservative leverage, but he also likes to talk about why his buy and hold strategies work is he got into the market during a really good time, like pre-2020s.
Yeah.
So he got it when it was cheap, interest rates were cheap, so now he's really booming. Does it still apply these days? I'm not too sure.
So I would say for our market here in Vancouver and a lot of North America, unless you're going to smaller cities, this doesn't apply.
Anymore?
It doesn't apply anymore.
When did it apply? Pre-COVID?
I would say even more than pre-COVID. I would say like pre-2015.
Okay.
And the reason why is because now you can't really get a cash flow positive property here in Vancouver. It would just be kind of something to pay the mortgage and then hope the value of the property goes up.
Right.
But values right now are so inflated that even if you buy a really good, get a really good deal on a property, if it's a solely investment only rental property, you're not going to live there.
Right.
It's really not feasible here. But to speak on Graham's strategy there, that's kind of what my parents did to grow.
Different era.
Yeah, different era though, exactly. So that strategy is tried true and has worked.
Right.
But would it work in today's day and age? 100% not.
So in today's age, what do we recommend as the best strategy for accumulating wealth through real estate? So let's talk about the two barriers they need to overcome. Number one is home ownership. Unless you want to run a real estate business where you don't actually own anything, you could like lease or rent something and then sublease, then you're running a real estate business.
Yeah.
But most of the people want to get wealthy in real estate, don't want that to be their business. They just want it to be a side income thing.
I would say the best advice that I can give for somebody in Vancouver that wants to get into real estate is if you have the lending potential and the earning potential, to buy a single family home that might need some renovations, because then that you can have value add, right? And it's not like, oh, it needs to be torn down, right? hey, repaint it, do the flooring, get it nice and livable, and something with rental potential on the downstairs. So downstairs, upstairs, backyard, doesn't matter. Then that will pay your mortgage,
Right.
hopefully. And then you can use the savings either because it's not going into your mortgage to get the next investment, whether it's real estate or not. Because in the end of the day, it's not just about investing in real estate, it's about building wealth.
Portfolios.
Yeah.
Yes. So in summary, should you follow the advice of these billionaire real estate moguls? You can probably take a little bit of their mindset on how they got there, but don't listen on what they're saying to do because they're so detached from the average person.
You should take the mindset and the framework and see if that can be what from those points can be applied to your case. And then from that, you have to speak obviously to a financial advisor, maybe a real estate professional in that area to apply all of those things. But can you take the framework from these influencers and directly apply it and then end up where they are? No.
Yeah.
I would say definitely not.
At the end of the day, it's important to identify what are they selling.
Yeah.
If they're selling something else, then
Yeah, you
keep
gotta,
it in mind.
You really gotta take it with a grain of salt if they throw a bunch of tips at you and everything like that. And the final tip is to buy their book.
Yeah.
Right? This shows their true cards.
Yeah. But I think for us, where it could be okay is we're throwing a bunch of tips at you, but the final thing is let us provide you great service in real estate in Vancouver if they ever need that.
Yeah, that's also true. I mean, for me, the way that business goes is that I'd rather just provide a ton of information, and then with that information, it's almost like giving you a deck of cards. If you can see all the cards, face up on the table, then you can take your pick.
Right.
Rather than either choosing blindly or not knowing the full scope or possibilities. So yeah, I mean, if this is information that we can make palpable to the general public, then that's really the goal.
Okay. In conclusion, if you want to get rich in real estate fast, you won't.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's what it is.
You need to plan, strategize, and expect a longer timeline, especially in today's day and age. And also be disciplined. I think that's the biggest thing.
So be disciplined and hit that subscribe button and keep watching our next videos.